listening to my friend Gary Anderson on Night Dreams Talk Radio, the best in paranormal radio.
Well, John, I can't say the best, but we're trying to be, well, better than some. And hey, on the news today, regardless of Trump asking the feds not to hike up the interest rate, well, they voted to, well, ignore Trump, and they did. They're going to jack up the interest rate. Now, what's that going to do to the economy right now? Will it slow it down? I really don't know. But, I mean, from the standpoint, we got the tariffs going on, and then we have, the feds raising the interest rate up. I think we might see a slowdown next year. Well, anyway, after the elections. And China, that's right, China is planning to send up a satellite, an artificial moon, which is almost, if not as bright as our current moon. Their philosophy is, that nighttime shouldn't be, nighttime. I don't know. I don't know if I like that idea. And that's supposed to happen by 2020. I kind of really am not, excited about it because you know what? I hate to go out like at 12 o'clock at night and almost feel like it's like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Anyway, we got Chad Meek. We're going to be talking about UFOs, about his movie, and a whole bunch of things, and even maybe a little bit about Earth changes right after this.
Please check out the Night Dreams Talk Radio website at www.nightdreamstalkradio.com. Also, if you want to keep our show free of advertising, just hit the donate button. Give a buck or two. Remember, all prior shows are always free to listen to. We at Night Dreams Talk Radio thank you for your support.
Well, hi, Chad. How's everything going for you today?
Well, really very positive day today, actually. Felt good. Sun was out. Glad to be alive on planet Earth.
Yeah. Well, we might not be saying that in about 25 years. I mean, what do you think about China with their plans to send up a artificial moon by 2020? Do you think that's a good idea? I mean, what we're going to have, 2 harvest moons?
Yeah, I just read about that today, and I thought, that's awfully strange, but then again, there's some people are claiming that our existing moon is just a synthetic artificial moon already. So, who knows? But that seems odd. I actually owned gold mines up in Alaska back in the day, and so I actually, so I know what it's like to not have the sun go down.
Oh, yeah. But, then, back a few years ago, Russia wanted to send up a whole bunch of satellites, to, brighten up the night. And their idea was basically to have no night and have it, like daylight 24/7. Thank God they didn't do that because, I mean, I hate to go outside at 2 o'clock in the morning or be like in, Alaska certain times of year and, it's daylight.
Well, there's there's all kinds of, things that can happen as far as when you talk of, monkeying around with your serotonin and melatonin. Just think of, all the depression, all the toxicity that we have right now. Then you're going to want to screw around with somebody's melatonin, their God gift to go to sleep patterns, what have you. And along with that, and it's incidentally, I've kind of come full circle about, all the, Wi-Fi and all the things that are going on right now, the smart meters and what have you, as far as what it's actually doing to us on a molecular basis. It's affecting our this meat body that we have. It really is, because we're, obviously we're conductors, and so we're receiving all kinds of stuff, and then on top of that, they want to launch a new moon and new satellites, and my gosh, I guess they're really trying to kill us.
Yeah, and well, I don't know, but what I hate is like there's people that have cell phones that have them blow up and they're either in their pockets or while they're talking and take off part of their face. But the other part with it is that they said that using, a cell phone or doesn't even have it on you, it actually raises the risk of having cancer and other type of diseases. I from the RF, because it's, a lot of people don't realize, even when you're not talking on your cell phone, it's still sending out a signal.
Sure. I mean, they can triangulate you anywhere that you want. In fact, I think they actually have the ability to triangulate you through your, through the electrical currents running in your wall. But a real hot spot is to have a cell phone in your ear all the time. And as far as that, plus it's a distract. I mean, it's a major. People say, okay, I'm worried about artificial intelligence. I'm worried about the chip. Well, I don't get it. We've got the chip already. It's in your hand. It's on your ear. So if you've got and the distraction, the continual 24/7 distraction. I mean, you talk about desensitizing someone and literally taking him out of nature and taking him out of the whole thing into an artificial world. It really, I mean, I always wonder why people wonder, well, why this guy go crazy, et cetera, et cetera. I kind of often wonder why not more, because with all the things going on, the toxicity and all this stuff, and this isn't really an extreme view. The science is coming around to this stuff. So at any rate, it's alarming. And also too, if you notice, most of the execs in technology, they don't let their kids have cell phones. They don't let them have them. So, obviously there's some reason for that. So anyways.
Well, the big thing is, I was never in, because maybe it's my age, but, my kids went through that. And a couple of them still are, and they're adults. They're still hooked on video games like you wouldn't believe. And then if they're not playing video games, they're hooked on Facebook and, media on the phone. I have to admit, I am hooked on Facebook. I'm trying to break the habit because, my wife in the middle of the night will take her fist and punch me in the back. She goes, I told you, turn your phone off. Why do you have it on now? Why are you looking at Facebook?
Well, it screws up your sleep patterns, and we have a world of insomniacs anyways. And as far as that, sleep is, of course, from a health concern, it's most underrated out of all of it. I mean, a good night's sleep is restorative and what have you. The better thing to do is, which is actually what I've been doing. Of course, I've been consistently, through meditation. I've actually been able to reset the clock quite a bit. And that's something that's really helped me a lot.
Well, not just that. Samsung got busted about 2 years ago. One of their batteries, and I can't remember which phone it was, but actually had a bug in it where they could, if they wanted to, that bug would, listen to you. And they got busted for that. I mean, that's really scary because one of my guests who comes on every couple months, Ronald Farnham, was with the DOD for about 13 years. And some of the stuff he, tells me about, like smart TVs, cell phones and stuff like that, makes me almost want to go out and throw my TV away, go get an old tube TV, and, go get I wouldn't even want a cell phone. Go get a hardwire phone. I don't know. And even it's so bad as what you type on, your computer and all that stuff. So you have no... what I'm saying? No privacy at all anymore.
Well, we've actually lost that for quite some years. As far as that, I mean, with the satellite, literally, I mean, if they wanted to, zap you off the face of the planet, it's not too difficult. And actually, unless you're completely isolated and you don't know anybody with a cell phone. I mean, when I talk about triangulation, I mean, literally, they can find you anywhere on the face of the planet based on your relatives and based on all that other stuff. And with satellite imagery, I mean, it's funny. My background, I've had this thing. I mean, I have a mineral background, so we utilize all kinds of satellite imagery and what have you, looking for hydrocarbons and minerals and all that. So even back in the 90s when I was doing this, the thought crossed my mind, wait a minute. If I can see under the ground and I can look at all this stuff here, why couldn't and boy, right after that, boom, 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 there it is. I mean, so it's a little we've hit this paradigm in this whole science fiction world. It's a little bit strange now. It's true.
Yeah, and that's what's scary. He was what he told me that. Now this is like last year. Him and his wife were in the front room. He didn't have the cell phone with him. It was in another room. they just had their TV on. And I don't even know if it was on, but the TV was a smart TV in their front room. And he was talking about a custom-made beach bike that hardly anybody carries. And the next morning, he turns his phone on. Guess what was showing up on his phone?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they got that down. Yeah, no, as far as that, hey, try typing in anything. I mean, as far as that, when you go on the net, I mean, they've got this whole history. That data is extraordinary. It reminds the movie Sneakers. Was it Sneakers? That was a movie, I guess, with Steve McQueen and Ben Kingsley, where they literally, if you control the information, you control the world. I think it was made in maybe it was in the 90s or maybe late 80s. I mean, I'm a science fiction writer. And so I'm always interested in reading and watching interesting things, because generally what happens is, in the whole science fiction genre, you literally get a glimpse of the future, and that's gone on for the last 100 years. As far as it goes back. I mean, literally a lot of the science fiction writers they're way ahead of themselves. So.
I don't know. It just makes me feel like, hey, we lost our privacy. And then on the news here, too, last week, they were talking about the police now. Or, for years, people, wanted to trace down their, DNA, their family tree and all this stuff. Well, yeah, so now they figured out, hey, well, now we can get these people who committed crimes by just, tracing it down through the DNA that way. But the thing that really scared me is some scientists did a test to the main companies that, offer this stuff. And they sent out the same DNA to each one of these companies. And each company came back with different results. So, I mean, reliability-wise, I'd be scared on that.
Well, who knows? You'd be wrongly convicted by, some egghead in some lab that basically got his algorithm backwards or something, and they, it's kind of like Minority Report. As far as that, that's it's kind of everything comes back to a movie as far as when I think about some of the stuff here. Minority Report is that they literally went after you before you committed the crime, because you were going to commit the crime, so they arrested you before you did it.
Well, hey, in California, they wanted to do that. I mean, if you got pulled over for speeding or got pulled over for anything, they wanted to take your DNA and put it in the data bank. I mean, when do you draw the line? Enough is enough. But you know what? As long as the people accept this stuff, it's going to keep going on, and it's going to go to the next level. But, again, even these crime labs, a lot of times you find out the people were convicted because of their DNA. They find out years later that, hey, that technician that did the DNA testing screwed up. He knew he screwed up, and he didn't want to go back and correct it because it would make him look bad. And that has happened all over the United States.
It's something like that. It's like out of a Philip K. Dick, movie or book or what have you. That whole thing, as far as where it gets contaminated. I mean, we laugh at the O.J. Simpson trial, which they had the Dream Team. Of course, we